Welcome back to the Dusty Case podcast. Thank you for giving us a moment of your time to tell you really random crap about video games you probably don't care about. But thanks for tuning in.
That's it. That's the show. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
This week, we're sponsored by G Fuel and AM2R. And I didn't fuck that up. Thank God.
Right here.
I got fucking water. Sick.
We're not sponsored.
Green cup.
We're not sponsored.
Is that
by
green?
Anything.
Green or yellow?
Show the audience. Let's see what happens. What do you guys think?
Tell me in the comments.
But yes, welcome to the Dusty Case podcast.
Yes.
We're having a good old time here.
Yes,
we've been a couple weeks off, and
it's because E3 happened, and then the lull
there
happened.
was like nothing.
Like
after
E3.
that. Yeah. So by the way, before we get too far, I do want to apologize to anybody who happens to hear it. If you hear a lull roar in the background or during time we talk, yes, the AC is on.
It's hot
because it's obnoxiously hot. It's
very hot,
and it wasn't going to happen. We were going to have this is going to be the shortest podcast ever because we were going to get tired and exhausted. This room cooks,
and I'm already tired because my job requires me to work in 100+ degree atmosphere.
Yeah, that's so obnoxious.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I get you.
Fuck you.
I have to work in like 60, 70. Maybe
I literally
temperature controlled.
Texted my wife this morning and said it's not even 8 a.m. and it's 86 degrees in here right now.
That is disgusting.
And she texted me back, that sucks. It's too cold in the office right now. And I told her to rot in hell.
That is horrible. I'm so sorry. But besides that, though, we've got video games.
We do.
Yes, and it's been a fine week. It's nothing really exciting.
No.
But
there's a couple things this week I do want to talk about.
Yeah, some stuff's come out. Before we jump into that, though, I am just being selfish here, so I want to talk about a couple things before we jump into the news and happenings.
Yes, I will marry you.
They made that so easy. I appreciate that. The wedding's tomorrow.
I'm a solvent problem.
Yeah, that's my man, dude. That's my man. I want that shirt still.
Dude, I want the hat.
I wanted to talk about a couple video games.
Okay.
Because I've played some video games lately. I have. So this video, I still haven't figured out which way I'm going to go with where these get posted. But it'll probably start moving over to the other channel. Everything will probably just go into that one channel.
Okay.
I've moved over from making exclusively WoW content for the last year, basically, to back into variety.
Yes.
I'm not going to lie to you. It felt like I was a new human being.
I can imagine.
It was weird. I got to play
other video games.
I'm not exaggerating. My day would be to come home. I would write or edit, and then I would go to bed, and I would do that the next day. And genuinely, I'd get like 2 videos out a week if I was lucky, and then at least 1 a week. And I didn't even like play WoW. I would just be writing about WoW. And then WoW came out, or TBC Classic came out, and I was like, I can play the video game. And the thought of making WoW content was like a nail through my face because I was like, I need to play some video games.
I love the nail through the face.
But anyway, because of that, though, I've been playing a lot of games. So I just put up my review or retrospective of Metroid Zero Mission.
My favorite 2D Metroid game.
It's really fun. It's really, really good.
Actually, the only 2D Metroid games I haven't played are Super Metroid and Metroid 2.
So I've also never played Metroid 2. But just kidding, I just played it. But I hadn't played it before. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going through all of Metroid 1 through 4. So that's 1, 2, obviously, then Super is 3.
Is there a new game coming out?
Yeah, there's it's called Metroid Dreadfully Too Long for It to Come Out. And it's finally happening in October. So I'm playing through Metroid 1 through 4 for no reason other than I'm hyped for it. Because there's really not much story to really follow. Spoilers, Samus gets asked to go do something, and she does it. That's basically there you go. There's Metroid. I'm just doing it because it's fun. And so I'm starting from all the way 1 through 4. I just did Zero Mission, and I finished AM2R, which is the fan remake for Metroid 2.
Yes.
Everywhere I read on the internet was like, dodge Metroid 2, like Return of Samus on the Game Boy. Just dodge it. It's just not worth it. And so I did.
And then the other 2 options are AM2R and the 3DS remake.
Yeah, and the 3DS remake I want to play. It's so much like Dread that I figured I might as well put that at the end and then do the gameplay that like leads into Dread at the very end, and then have this like nice 2D pixel based 1 through 4 game. Yeah. They're all basically Super Nintendo / GBA sprite work.
Yeah.
So kind of cool to keep that immersion in there. Just finished AM2R. Have to genuinely say I've played a lot of fan games and fan hacks or whatever over the years. This is without question the best one I've ever played. It is insanely good. Like insanely good. I'm going off of memory. I like it off of memory. I like it more than Fusion. I like it in some ways more than Zero Mission. I don't think in general. I think Zero Mission is a better game in general. But wow, it is so good. And my favorite part about it is Nintendo shut it down. So that guy got hired to make Ori and the Will of the Wisps. That's the biggest insult you could like ever do.
What a kick in the balls.
I'm so glad. Honestly, I was like, why? Nintendo, you had such an obvious out here. But anyway, so I played AM2R. It's great. That video's coming out soon. I also played another fan game, one that you'd really like.
Yes.
That your shirt is really spoiling.
Yes.
I played through Pokemon Uranium, and I finished that last night or the night before, I forget. The night before. And talk about being able to play two amazing fan games back to back.
And have them shit on the actual versions of the game.
For real. My favorite generation of Pokemon is Gen 2.
Yes.
Right? Like of the Pokemon designs. It's Gen 2 and like the games in general. It's Heart Gold and Soul Silver, my favorite. Right behind that is Platinum.
Yeah.
So Gen 2 and then Gen 4, even though those are technically both Gen 4 games.
Yeah.
And then a bit behind Gen 4 is Gen 1, probably. I'm not sure if Uranium is number 4 or number 3 on my favorite generations. I'm not joking. It is such a brilliant game. And the designs of the Pokemon are so good. Like, I've always had this really crazy soft spot for Pidgeotto.
Yes.
Don't know why. Brilliant bird. It's a brilliant bird. But the new bird line, if there wasn't the nostalgia for Pidgeotto, I think it might be my favorite bird line.
I watched my wife play a couple hours of it, and it looks like a lot of fun. And I'm sure I could still find it on the internet. So
I would never distribute it to you because that would be a bad idea.
However,
if it fell onto your flash drive, if it happened to just appear in your Google Drive, by no means of mine. So maybe you click the file because then you're distributing it to yourself, which isn't illegal.
Yes.
Yeah, you can easily find it. You can easily find it.
We're not doing bad things.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say you should distribute the game.
However,
downloading it isn't illegal though. So go download it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's one of the best Pokemon games ever made. It's better than the last 3, I think. I like it better than X and Y. I like it better than I like it pretty much anything better than Sun and Moon. And I like it better than Sword and Shield. And I actually genuinely like Sword and Shield and X and Y. I genuinely like those games. I think Uranium is a better Pokemon game than both of them. It's got some flaws, absolutely. It can be a bit. The difficulty can spike a couple times out of seemingly nowhere. And I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to make trainer battles always hard and wild encounters never as hard.
Yeah.
The problem is the level disparity between wild encounters and trainer battles and gym battles can be like really high. And the goal, I think, the intention is like get better at battling trainers.
Yeah.
And like develop the game better, understand your Pokemon better, and play better. And you're gonna fail, but you're gonna like retry and get it better because now you know what the Pokemon are gonna be or whatever. There's like a point where you can do so much and you're like, shoot, my team is just bad. Like I have a glaring weakness to this gym and I'm screwed. So you grind a lot because you have no other way to do it. And because all the Pokemon around you are so low, the grinding takes an extra long period of time. That can happen. But wow, seriously, I'd rather have that than how damn easy the recent Pokemon games have been. So it's brilliant. I needed to talk about 2 fan games as a big middle finger to Nintendo because wow, they're great. And the fact that Nintendo blew it and didn't hire these people or support this in any way is mind-blowing.
This will not be the only time in this podcast that I will say Nintendo blew it.
But what about you? Before we jump into anything, and then, so I'm playing Super Metroid then, obviously, after that of AM2R. So I'm pretty excited. Have you been playing anything recently? I saw you in chat the other day with a bunch of people. What have you been up to?
So my gaming, I'm stupid. My gaming as of late has been mostly multiplayer.
Okay.
For those of you who have wanted Mario Party with excessive amounts of violence.
Ah, yes, large demographics been asking for that.
Pummel Party is the best $8 I've spent in probably like the past year. Oh my god. It was like on a whim during the summer sale because Elijah wanted to play, our buddy Elijah. So then I bought it. He already had it. Jake bought it. My buddy Avery that I used to work with bought it. Andrew bought it. And we were just playing Pummel Party. And dude, I cannot describe to you the feelings I was having while I was crying in my computer chair playing this fucking game. There was a point. Okay, so it's very 100% Mario Party inspired.
Okay.
But it's not Mario Party.
Sure.
So there's a mini game that's a lot like the snowball mini game from Mario Party 2 where you have to knock people off the edge.
Oh, okay.
Except in this mini game, your mage is on a platform in lava. And you have to throw fireballs at each other to knock people off the edge. Dude, Elijah was on the platform with Jake. They're the last two alive. And Elijah is pissed drunk. So drunk. And he's throwing fireballs at Jake and knocks him into the lava. But the lava's not a one-hit kill because you have a health bar. It'll tick, 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 and it goes down really far. And Elijah thought he beat Jake. So Elijah's in fucking chat going, I got Jake. I won. And me and Andrew see Jake floating back to this platform. And we're like, Elijah, turn the fuck around. Jake's still alive. And he's like, huh? And the next thing you know is Jake throws a fireball and knocks him off the edge and kills him.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, it was one of the funniest moments I've had in a game in a long fucking time. I was fucking losing my shit.
That sounds funny.
Oh my god.
I'll probably want to try it at some point.
Dude, it's so funny. It's so good. If you like Mario Party, you're gonna like it. It's just fun.
Yeah, it sounded awesome.
There's a shitload of mini games. There's so many different maps, and each map has its own like different thing. Like we played on two different maps. One was a horror theme map and one was a Christmas map. And like on the horror theme map, there's this big fucking dude with a machete on the map who will randomly walk around between everybody's turn. And if he gets to you, he fucking kills you and he sends you back to the start.
Okay.
Or wherever the graveyard is. It's fucking hilarious.
It was the day that someone called your brother or whatever and was like,
Elijah.
does anyone want, do we want to play it? I was so tempted. I was like literally at a part in Scarlet Nexus that I was actually hyped in. And it was so good. And then I was like, oh, that sounds so awesome. That sounds like so much fun. It sounds so good.
It is the most dumb fun I've had in such a long time.
There's unfortunately like that so rarely happens, and Mario Party is not going to deliver on that for a while.
No,
Super Mario Party is the best Mario Party we've had in a bit,
and that's
but
not
it's
really
easily
saying much.
like the weakest of the first. Or if you were to compare it to the first 8, it's the weakest of the first 8, definitely.
It's 1 through 8, Super Mario Party, and then 9 and 10.
And then not the new collection. It doesn't really hype me either because
could have been DLC.
I own those games.
Yeah,
it's really hard for me to get excited about games I own. Like it's a compilation of Metroid, like Mario Party 1 through 3. When I own Mario Party 1 through 3,
get fucked.
I wish it was cool, but I hope it's good.
And then the other thing I've been playing is Battlefield 4.
Battlefield 4.
Yeah. So Sage and Jake Bennett.
Does it get hyped for 2042?
No, it was $8 for the premium edition.
And Battlefield 4 is dang good, to be fair. After those first 6 months of
literal dog shit,
yeah, the game got really good.
But it's been a lot of fun. We've been playing a couple hours every now and then. Obviously, Sage can't play a shitload because dad life. But it's been a lot of fun. I'm not good at. I've never been good at like that. I say hyper realism. It's the only way I can really describe Battlefield. Like, it's obviously way more tactical, and you have to be a lot smarter because you die a lot faster than something like COD or whatever.
To a degree, yeah. The newer Battlefields are definitely closer to COD than the old Battlefields, for sure.
But it's been a lot of fun. There's just something. We were playing on a map yesterday, and it was me and Sage in a tank, and we were driving around this point, defending the point. And dude, there were people dropping in from the sky, and Sage was trying to shoot him out of the air with his cannon. And then there were people putting down like respawn beacons, so they were like coming at it everywhere. So we're just like, it was just chaos, and I loved it.
That sounds awesome.
But yeah, I spent $16 on 2 games I've been playing entirely too much of.
I'm still really torn about 2042. There's a part of me that is really excited to play it because I loved 4.
I will not pay $60 for it.
Yeah. So my problem is mostly just I'm worried about getting baited again. I just said Battlefield 4 is incredible. Actually, Battlefield 4 is quite possibly my favorite of those games, but it wasn't for quite a while.
Exactly.
And I cannot get excited about that game for launch. Like Battlefield 2042 sounds awesome 6 months after it comes out. I cannot commit to jumping into it. Battlefield 3 was rough at launch. Bad Company 2 was mostly okay, but still not great at launch. It had plethora of problems. 4 was miserable at launch. Hardline was miserable at launch. Battlefield 1 was bad at launch. Like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah.
It looks like
how many bad launches do we get before we get a pass?
They're not like kind of bad. They're like tragically bad.
Like can't launch the game. Can't get into a server. Can't even load the fucking hotfix files to get the patch.
Yeah, Battlefield 4 had an update patch that came through that was supposed to fix this crippling problem that I had where it was stuck at level 1 and you wouldn't gain XP.
Yeah.
So if I downloaded the patch and I was negative levels and then I couldn't play the game because it would crash every time I tried to join because it would error check and because I was a negative level, it thought I was hacking. So it broke my game even further. So I had to wait another like couple weeks for a patch until I finally got to play back at level 1 after already trying to play the game for like 20 hours.
Yeah.
Actually, to be fair, I was probably in battles, like in games for like 15 of those 20 hours. And then after like 2 months, I was back at level 1.
Yeah.
Because the game just broke. And I was like, oh, this is a great time. And then once DICE left and it was DICE EA or DICE LA or whatever that took over it, the game got good. So I'm both excited and conflicted.
Yeah, that's one of those things I never quite understood with like, not to go off on like a tangent or whatever, but it's been one of those things.
It's a podcast. That's kind of what they're made for.
I never quite understood like the whole, like every time a Battlefield launch is bad, we just blame EA. It's like, you guys do know there's another company tied to that, right?
Yeah.
Like DICE doesn't get a free pass because the game is garbage on EA's part. Like the server problems, you can blame that shit on EA. But like
if it's being hosted by them.
Yeah, but like game breaking
glitches. The thing is, it also might not be being hosted by them.
Yeah, but like game breaking glitches and bugs that are a product of underdeveloped game, that's a DICE problem.
Or a mixture of the both. The two. Yeah. Like we're at a point now where people don't look at Blizzard and go, oh, it's Activision. Like to a degree, Activision has had a pretty negative influence on Blizzard. Absolutely. Blizzard's release of 9.1 and the problems with it, that's not Activision. These guys have had, this is the most delayed a patch has ever been in WoW. If it's bad, it's kind of one thing. Yeah. And it's not bad because there's like not enough time. It's not unfinished, right? It's like the design is bad. And we're finally at a point where I think people are starting to realize it's not entirely the publisher every time. No one looks at the Naughty Dog crunch and goes, who can we blame?
Yeah.
Like, it was all Naughty Dog. Sony pretty much gives them full reign. They get to do whatever they want. And then Insomniac, also in the same boat. Sony gives them free reign. And Rift Apart wasn't crunched to a degree that we're aware of. All those people have come out and said it's not that crunched.
I want a PS5 so bad because I want to play Rift Apart.
Yeah, it's the first game that I actually want from it.
Also, like...
It's the first game I want for a PS5.
Another tangent, but like... I was walking through Target the other day, and I saw that PlayStation 5 finally has different colored controllers. And I want them. There's a black one and a red one, and they look so good.
They just need to have games for that console now.
Yeah.
Instead of a PS3 remake, Astro's Playroom looks cool. That's bad when the launch titles came out and Astro's Playroom looked like the best thing.
Yeah.
And I love Demon's Souls. Like, really do, but I've already played it.
$70 love Demon's Souls?
No, I don't. Not at all. Dude, I don't $70 love pretty much any game. There's a whole video I made about, I don't even know if they're worth 60. Never mind 70. So anyway, let's jump into a couple of the big things. Well, probably should jump into the biggest thing that's happened in the past week or so. Nintendo. They finally announced that new Switch revision that everyone is expecting.
Wah.
Yeah, let's just take that back a bit. Actually, this isn't what anybody was expecting. Except, well, like, it was like half expecting. So, the Switch announced the Switch OLED model, which, by the way, is a really boring name. For someone who, they always come up with, like, really fun names. Nintendo Switch OLED model is so not Nintendo, which always, it's kind of caught me off guard. But anyway, the Nintendo Switch OLED model has an OLED screen, so it's a bit brighter, it's a bit better contrast, a bit better colors, and it's a bit more energy efficient. Problems that come with OLED are screen burn-in can be a problem, something that still people need to figure out. But that's okay. A worthy trade-off, I think, for most people, because most people don't leave like a sit image for like 4 hours.
I think
on a
most
screen,
people
right?
I know, and I think I could probably speak for a lot of Switch players, especially that play on the go. Most of them aren't sitting there in handheld mode for like 7-8 hours at a time. It's like,
it's not even just that they have to be on. It has to be like on the same image for it to burn in. And even then, the Switch and most TVs have like auto sleep modes,
which
that
I find
go all the time.
really funny that OLED went back to a problem that plasma TVs
Yeah,
had.
it was very.
How did we go
strange.
backwards?
It's very strange. But so that's what it is. The device has, besides that, it looks slightly different. It is a little sleeker, a little more round. The dock has an Ethernet port, which has a catch, which I didn't know about until like today.
Mm-hmm.
And the besides that, it's basically identical. It's all little. Oh, and the audio is slightly better, but we don't know what that means. They just said it's slightly better. But there's like a couple little weird, intricate, like the power button is different, or the volume buttons are different.
Cool.
The kickstand is actually what it should have been, which is a full base half kickstand, like a Microsoft Surface.
Yep.
That's basically what it is, and it's $300, so it's not more, it's not less.
I thought it was $350.
Is it $350?
I think it's $350.
Never mind, I don't want it anymore. But
I'm pretty sure it's $350.
Anyway, so actually, hold on, let me double check that. But yeah, so anyway, before we get down to that, what are your thoughts about the Switch model in general? Because there was a lot, there was a lot of rumors coming up to this point, and needless to say, what we got isn't what the leaks were saying, or it was like partially what the leaks were saying.
So I've already had the conversation with you where I didn't think we were going to get a Switch Pro. I thought the rumors and all the things we saw that we were getting from like patents and like copyrights and stuff like that.
Oh, it is $350. You're right.
Did point to a potential Switch Pro, but to me it could or it couldn't.
Sure.
Funny enough, I said this to somebody at work. I said, what's probably going to happen is we're going to get the same fucking Switch with probably better Joy-Cons or something. And I wasn't far off.
I mean, we didn't get better Joy-Cons, so Drift is still here to stay.
If you want my blunt response, Nintendo, you fucked up. Like, cool, we got a Switch with a better screen. Probably, I'm going to assume, inherently probably a little more battery life, I'm going to assume, because of the power-saving ability of OLED.
Well, so developers have already benchmark tested it, and Nintendo has also put out their battery tests. They're identical.
Okay, then never mind.
Now, granted, that is impressive because it is using more, arguably more power.
Yeah.
OLEDs are more energy efficient in some capacity, but all the other things do make it more power consumption. So the fact that it's equal to the current model is good, but it's not better.
Yeah, so Nintendo's weird for me right now because, like, we kind of we fell out of, obviously, this is a while ago, but we fell out of the honeymoon phase with the Switch. Like, the honeymoon phase is over with the Switch. Now the Switch needs to have a lasting impression other than those first 2 to 3 years. And unfortunately for me, and I know I've had this talk with you before, the Switch doesn't really interest me as much anymore. Not because there aren't things that are coming out that obviously I want, like Breath of the Wild 2, I want that.
Sure.
And there's a couple other indie games that I would like to get on Switch. Actually, funny enough, I'm actually traveling next week, so I will be bringing my Switch. I'll actually be playing the remake of Link's Awakening while I'm on the plane. Because I'm going from here to Texas, have a layover, so I'll have time to play.
Yeah.
There are things to do with the Switch. The problem I have, and I always have with the Switch, and arguably Nintendo as a whole, is I understand the design for fun first. Here's the problem. When fun is compromised by performance, I have less fun at this point in technology as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it all about graphics and performance and whatnot, but at the point we're at, with the 30 series graphics cards out, with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 putting out games, especially like Rift Apart. Rift Apart on the PS5 looks fucking insane.
It looks smooth.
And
you have a lot of options with it graphically. You have a lot of control.
Yeah. It's just the point the Switch is at. Either they're holding out for another console release to go the 4K big console release, or they are still working it. Because the thing is, people completely ruled out the possibility that they're still working on a Switch Pro. I think it's entirely possible. This is probably, hey, here's a better Switch.
Mm.
And maybe in a year, 2 years, probably not 2 years, because at that point, I would fully expect them to say, we are working on another console.
Yeah. Well, realistically, they also probably already are.
Yeah. I would hope that whatever's coming next is basically the Switch, just the Switch Pro version of the Switch, but they're going to call it something else.
Okay. Yeah. I think I would agree with you. I think the best thing they could possibly do going forward is just make a Switch 2 or whatever they want to call it. And
call it a Switched.
Oh goodness. A Switch U. But they just
fucking God, stop.
They just do that and make it backwards compatible with the Switch. If they don't make it backwards compatible with the Switch, I think you're going to lose a massive set of people. But if they do that, they win.
Yeah.
I think though overall you're straight up in the right. The Switch is quite possibly, I really mean this, quite possibly my favorite console that's been made, and I'd have to like let that fester for a little bit longer. You know, I'd have to like be out of using it for a little bit and sit on it, and years would have to go by. But it's really possibly there. Like I would go out of my way, and I regularly do go out of my way to get things for the Switch over something else because of just the possibility of the convenience or whatever.
Yeah.
For whatever reason or another, I love that little thing. But yeah, the last like 6 months or so, I've been dodging Switch games because it's just getting so rough to play them. When I played Immortals Phoenix Rising, on day one, that was a struggle. That game ran at like sub 20 FPS regularly, and it looked like it was running 720p on the TV. That was brutal. And God, playing the demo for Age of Calamity, there are moments where I was in single-digit frames. That is unacceptable.
My wife owns Age of Calamity, and spoiler alert, it didn't get any better with the full release.
It's unacceptable. I don't care who you are. That is unacceptable. That should never be, like, you should never be okay with that. There should be a certain level of expectation here, and 1080p 30, like, come on. That was the expectation for PCs, like, 10 years ago.
That was the expectation for consoles, like, 10 years ago.
Yeah, like, the PS4 and the Xbox One, if they didn't run at 1080p 30, people rightfully ridiculed them. Now people are expecting 4K 60, and the Switch can barely do 1080p 30. And that's in docked. It's crazy. So when they announced a new model, which also, by the way, I have a major problem myself. I have the Switch Model 1, and my battery life, if I'm lucky, I can hit 2 hours. If I'm lucky, I can hit 2 hours. The majority of the time, I barely break an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It's absurd. Bryn has a Switch Model 2. She can make it 6 regularly. So I was excited for a new Switch revision because I was like, I'll just get it for the battery at this point.
Yeah.
Like anything else is a bonus. Now I'm actually paying $50 extra realistically for me, for my use case, for basically a better battery and a slightly better screen, because I play about 75% of the time docked and like 25% of the time in handheld. I can't convince myself to even trade in my old Switch and spend that much money for something that I'm not going to use that often. Like realistically, that brighter screen is cool, but I'm not spending that much money for a slightly better screen and a battery. And that's all you get out of it. If you have a Model 1, that's all you get out of it. If you have a Switch Model 2, you literally just get a better screen.
Yeah.
And if there's no benefit to you, if the majority of your time is docked, which people have done like crazy A/B tests and whatever, and people are seeing it's like close to 50-50 on average is what people use their Switches with. That's just not enough. And it doesn't help these massive performance problems. Like they're crippling. Some of them are getting it. We actually, I think we had a was it a podcast episode? Like months and months and months ago when we were trying something. We were chatting about the Switch or something came out, and you had made the comment that the Switch.
Yeah, what the fuck were we talking about?
Or was it E3 maybe? But like you're like the Switch is just getting too bad. And even I was like, it's not that bad yet. No, it really is. It really is. It didn't bother me because I hadn't played games that really utilized it. But God, try to play.
And the thing is, I don't take like pleasure in being like, I'm going to say fuck the Switch. I don't actually mean fuck the Switch, but I don't take pleasure in saying fuck the Switch. Because my problem is I want to use my Switch.
Yeah.
But I don't want to buy new shit on my Switch because I'm running the chance of it running like dog shit.
It's got the thing is, like I said, I seriously mean it. It's probably going to be my favorite console, like genuinely. It's so good. It has pushed everything, and we're going to talk about its impact on gaming very soon. Yeah, like it has redefined the platform, the physical platform of gaming moving forward. It really has. Nintendo should be so proud of that. But again, there's always I think it's Arlo made this great point.
I love Arlo, man.
Dude,
I fucking love Arlo.
He's so positive.
Shout out to Arlo.
He's so positive so much of the time, but he's also definitely a cynical person. It's funny.
Oh, fuck yeah.
But he made a great point that being a Nintendo fan is like something like riding a roller coaster, but there's always a catch. It's like, you know, this is going to be the most exciting ride of your life, but this could be the derail run. Like, liking things Nintendo, there's always a catch. Just a quick couple examples. When Amiibo first came out, they were cool. There were none in stock. Ever. So then they just all disappeared. How much are they now? Like $80 a pop for those old ones. Or they got scalped immediately. Now we have problems where people are upset about some of the gameplay features that are getting locked behind them. And they're still getting scalped because they still don't release they still release exceptionally limited supplies. Those Metroid Dread Amiibos got sold out like immediately. They're already on eBay for like $200.
Cool.
Like within hours, and that's it. They were sold out everywhere. The Wii U is a perfect example. The Wii U was a fine console overall, like technically speaking. It had some cool ideas, but it ran when it got released. It was already 4 years out of date. When the Switch got released, it was already a couple years out of date. Let's not forget, as good of a game as Breath of the Wild is, it ran like ass.
Like literal butt cheeks.
It doesn't look great a lot of the time. You do it any fight half the time, and you're chugging under 30. If you're lucky, you'll break 30 regularly. If you're lucky. And then you now have the OLED model. Perfect example. It comes with an Ethernet port. That's cool. I always prefer hardwired. I have the house literally set up and running cables underneath floorboards to get hardwired because it's clean. It looks clean here. I can keep it clean. I can keep it non-invasive. Everything looks good here. And I get better performance. The Switch OLED model comes with an Ethernet port. There's a catch. You lose a USB port.
Yep.
Why is that important? The GameCube controller adapter requires 2 USBs. Well, that's gone. If you enjoyed Smash Ultimate on your GameCube controller, that's a problem. I don't know. Do they have GameCube controllers that use one USB port? I hope so.
Yes.
I hope they do, because mine. I have the Nintendo one from the Wii U, and it doesn't. It's two ports.
No, I think there are 2 ports.
So I have to buy a Switch. If I wanted to get the Switch OLED model, I also have to buy an extra piece to be able to play existing games in the way I already had.
Yep.
That's not okay.
A problem.
Yeah, we shouldn't. You know what I was thinking about this? Nintendo fans are starting to hit a point that Sonic fans hit like decades ago. They just accept it. It's like they're always hoping for the next thing. Eventually we'll get another Sonic Adventure 2, like good quality game or whatever, even though SA2 is like not.
Yeah, I was about to say, can we also, like, real quick, SA2 isn't that good. The Sonic and Shadow levels, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, kind of garbage.
But like,
unless you're Pumpkin Hill, and that's about it.
But you know what's bad? When fans go, well, yeah, of course we got Sonic Forces because Sonic Mania was good. Like, it has to be. We've just accepted. They've just accepted universal karma, apparently. Like, every Sonic is yin and yang. Like, if there's a good game, there has to be an atrociously bad one. But that they've gotten so defeated.
That literally makes no sense.
I know, but this is like the rationale people have to put themselves in, right? Nintendo is kind of in the same way. Even myself, when I saw the OLED model, I was like, for initially, like, that's disappointing. Okay. To eventually thinking, okay, well, it's not that bad. You know, it could have been worse. And then I'm like, no, why am I settling on that? Why am I settling on it could have been worse? To me, right now, what they announced is, so the Switch has problems. A couple major ones. The OLED model doesn't solve the top 2, which are performance, drastically a problem,
Joy-Con drift.
and Joy-Con drift. Also, by the way, apparently Switch Pro controllers are drifting now. People are having theirs, so I can't wait for that to happen to me too. We just sent Bryn's is coming back because we had to send hers out. Hers started drifting.
Or Joy-Cons, or
the Joy-Con, thankfully, not the Switch Pro controller. But thankfully, I shouldn't say thankfully they're doing this to fix them. They're doing it so they don't get hit too hard on their lawsuits.
Aww.
But the thing is, what's so annoying is the Switch is still like, I know this is like just like been a batch of negativity, but like it feels so weird that the Switch was like the complete 180 from the Wii U,
And now
but also it's not in the same way.
we're kind of the snake eating its tail right now.
All these things that people for years were like, oh, well, the Switch revision will solve that. It's not solving any of the problems. Like, the Switch screen is never in a list of someone's problems with the console. But there are some severe crippling issues that really need to be addressed. And the fact that the Switch was already barely competing with a base PS4 and a base Xbox One when it came out, like 6 years after those consoles were out. Now there are PS5s and Series X's. Yeah, it's really hard. I basically buy indie games on my Switch now.
Yeah.
If it's a AAA title, I bought Battle for Bikini Bottom, right, on the Switch because I wanted to play it on the Switch. I shouldn't have. It plays like ass. I even mentioned it in my video that I did about it. It plays like ass. If I would have bought it on every other platform, would have had no problem. It barely breaks 30 FPS if you're lucky. Texture pop-in is obnoxious. You literally walk by and a tree will be 5 feet away from you and it pops in. Doesn't happen on any other platform. It's a problem. They really need to do something about it. And an OLED model is just not enough. It's not enough. It does nothing to solve anything. It looks pretty.
Yeah.
The Ethernet port comes at a cost, which of course it does. And it's got its own set of issues. It looks sleek as heck, though. I got to give it that.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
Cool.
Yeah. It looks really cool. But overall, I'm genuinely really disappointed. This should have been better.
You done fucked up.
Like, the rumors were all, the OLED screen was neat. And it was nothing of the thing people were excited. Now, granted, you can make an argument that Nintendo fans, like, did it to themselves. But I think like Jim Sterling has said that, where like Nintendo fans have trolled themselves on this. I think he's wrong. It's not that Nintendo fans trolled themselves on this. A lot of Nintendo fans had this expectation because it needs it. It wasn't like, oh yeah, we're getting this because it's cuz. No, it's like, it needs to solve these problems. And now it hasn't. We're waiting again.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens. I hope the next revision, if they have another one, is better. I hope their online is, maybe Ethernet will solve their online problem. Because God, it's so bad.
It's awful.
It is so bad.
It's fucking awful.
Bryn's playing Pokemon Sword. God, Pokemon Online is brutal.
Yeah.
Everything is brutal to do online. But the Switch has had a massive impact on gaming. That can't be understated.
Yes.
We're seeing Sony get into the handheld market again, like get into it. Xbox is getting into the handheld market. Nvidia is really taking it off again, trying to basically make Switch copies.
Yeah.
There have been a bunch of fan people who
I know Alienware is making that handheld. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't.
It was like a couple weeks ago.
I know I saw Beat 'em Ups do a thing about like a PC, a handheld PC that looks just like a Switch. And now Steam has said, or Valve has said, we're going to do that again too, except for way cheaper. And Valve just announced their Steam Deck, which is an annoying name because the Stream Deck is so common to say. But anyway, the Steam Deck, it's a PC Switch. That's literally all it is. For a surprisingly low price.
It's so funny, right? I was actually having a conversation with one of the guys from the front office at work, and I mentioned it like this. I picture Gabe Newell as the least bougie millionaire you can think of. I picture him sitting in one of those really shitty looking plaid recliners from the 70s with a Keystone light in his hand, watching the Nintendo reveal and having like people from Valve there, and they don't announce the Switch Pro, and he goes, "Son of a bitch, it's time to push the button. Hold my beer. I'll be right back." And he goes and designs the Steam Deck.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He's a clever guy. He also does look like he dresses like a millionaire.
Yeah, he dresses like one, but I picture him.
No, I'm gonna say dress like one. I mean, like he looks like he just woke up, rolled out of bed. He looks like Bill Gates does when he's not in interviews.
Steam Deck is actually something I am excited.
Oh, so let's go over. Yeah, let's go over.
Bring that back.
Let's go over some of the specs though, real quick. So there are multiple models of this. First off, which is kind of a big deal. But most of the models is predominantly going to be based on storage. So what we have is it's running an AMD, I believe it's an AMD It's like a single processor. I believe it's like integrated graphics. One chip. It's got 16 gigs of DDR5 memory, which is pretty big. A 7-inch touchscreen, just like the Switch. But the big catches are the hard drive space. So the base model, the Switch OLED model, let's just get this out there again. The Switch OLED model is $350. The base Steam Deck is $400 with 64 gigabytes of solid state storage. It's mimicked solid state. The eMMC are like, it's not like fully like M.2s, but it is. But it's not NVMe. But it's really fast. That's really good hard drive space. So you're getting a probably better performing console in every capacity and a wider one because it's Steam for $50 more. Nintendo finally has this competition people have kind of been waiting is going to happen because the Switch is brilliant. I'm never going to understate that. It is brilliant. But this is the problem with brilliance. People now come at you. And a lot of them have been really mediocre. This one's good. It looks really good. The next step up is $529, which... So here's another thing. People complain about gaming PCs costing too much or whatever. If these specs are what they are, I've already thought people who complain about PC building prices are being insanely dramatic. People are like, you need a $2,500 PC. Who needs that? Who builds that on the average? Like right now, yes, because there's a hardware shortage across the planet. Yes, now it's a problem. But I had an $800 computer that lasted me a decade.
Yeah.
I don't know what that complaint has ever been. But anyway, and I did far more than gaming on it. I also went through college with it.
Yeah.
So this though has a 256 gig NVMe for $529, and then a 512 high-speed NVMe for $649, and it's expandable storage through micro SDs.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I have nothing more to say really than this looks great. So, for a use case for me, probably never. I have a PC, like a really good one. If I'm gonna play on the go, I just don't have. I mean, I could. I don't really have the disposable income or many use cases that I would want that. Because odds are I'd like to have the break from PC if I'm taking it to travel to instead play like a Nintendo game or something. But that's nice. That's really good.
I'm weird. I'm super excited for the Steam Deck. My only issue is Valve has a really bad history of abandoning hardware.
Yes, they really do.
That's my biggest issue.
Remember the Steam Link that I had? It worked really well.
You mean the Stream Link?
The Stream Link, sorry. It worked really well.
It was awesome.
And they just dropped it.
For me, I'm trying to imagine when they first announced it. Let me backtrack so I'm not stumbling over myself. When they first announced it, I thought to myself, could I see myself using this? Well, my first thought was, holy shit, that's actually rad.
Yeah.
But my second thought was, would I see myself actually using this? And it was both a yes and a no. It's more no than yes. But the yes comes from there are some PC games that I would actually like to play on a big TV.
Sure.
And I buy them on Steam because they're cheap. Why would I fucking not?
Yeah.
Like right now, I want to play through Psychonauts before Psychonauts 2 comes out. Yeah, I'll have fun playing it on my 27-inch computer monitor. But it'd be nice to have the Steam Deck to hook that up to my TV.
Does it hook up to the TV?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can hook it up to the TV.
I don't know if that's been confirmed. I'd have to see.
I could have swore there was a screenshot on Twitter.
There might have been.
Either way.
Yeah, because or you end up being like me where you have 3 screens here. Well, technically 4 because I have a TV, but that's like if I want to play a PC game on the big screen, I've had to set my room up that way.
Yeah.
Basically.
But there is something about it goes back to the conversation we had about the Switch for performance. It's like, do I see myself using the Steam Deck a lot? Probably not. But in those cases where like I'm traveling, there'd be something kind of nice about taking the Steam Deck with me, something that's powerful enough to be like, I want to play like The Witcher.
Yeah.
At 60 frames in a handheld mode and sit there on the plane and play The Witcher.
That's my thing when I compare it now to the OLED model, because people kept saying when the OLED model came out that like, oh, everyone's expecting this 4K 60 or the 1080p 60 stuff or whatever is like impossible without it costing like $1,000. Yeah. And then the announcement drops the week after that, oh, never mind, it's actually not that hard. Like
Also,
Valve just did it.
Valve played that so smooth.
How much do you think they waited purposely? Because let's be real. Let's think about this. If you're Valve,
I think
you know something's happening, right? Like everybody in the industry knew something was happening from Nintendo. Like everybody knew. If Nintendo drops a Switch Pro and it meets everyone's satisfaction,
they have to announce Steam Deck right after it.
But the thing is, if they announce Steam Deck right after, does it hurt the Steam Deck? I don't think so.
No,
because it's in many ways it's a separate market, and also the same market. You can be equally as excited about the Steam Deck no matter what Nintendo announced.
Yeah,
because the games themselves almost never cross over.
I think they probably did wait. I think they saw the Switch OLED announcement and they went, let's sit on this and see how people think.
Yeah, let's give it a week.
Yeah,
like I really do think that when they were going to do it anyway, they were going to wait for Nintendo no matter what. And when they saw the OLED announcement, I have a feeling they were like, "Oh, we win! Like we're going to get so much good praise."
So back to my original thought. I thought to myself, could I see myself using it? And both yes and no. But then I thought to myself, could I see my wife using it? The way with my wife's job now, she doesn't have a lot of time to sit on her computer and play games. But when she gets a free moment, she does play like Stardew and stuff on her Switch because it's right there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be like, can I imagine my wife, or buying this for like my wife, for obviously me to use too, but could I imagine her in the living room having her entire Steam library in her fucking hand and being like, you know what? Let's play like the PC version of Horizon. Or let's play Monster Hunter. And just sit there and like...
Could you imagine if they hooked this up? I seriously mean this. If this was dockable, because I can't find if it is. But imagine if this does become dockable, and you could hook up like a Bluetooth controller. Steam makes a Bluetooth controller to it. We have a literal PC Switch. Like someone like Alex. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
He's not a big PC gamer. He would own this.
Oh fuck yeah, he
right?
would.
Like, man, this is brilliant. This is seriously so brilliant. And the price makes it so much more brilliant.
So it's funny because I saw
However, it still can't install COD. Just saying, the base model can't install COD.
Oh, man.
Nothing can install COD.
Yeah. I have COD installed on my HDD.
How?
And it takes
It
up
fits?
like, dude, it takes up like, oh god, last time I checked, I haven't done an update on it in a long time, but it's even without all the updates, it still takes up like 400 gigs, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so they had a big problem for a while where it wouldn't remove old files.
Yeah.
So it would just additively add files and never remove, it would never do cleanup.
Nope.
So yeah, people had like PS4 Pros with 1 terabyte hard drives that after so many updates were at like 850 gigs being used up by COD, because it would literally, this is brilliant. It would take all of the files and it would go, like all the files on your PS4, and then the updater would look and go, oh, okay, we need to redo all of these. So I'm going to just copy them on and never clean up the old ones.
Yep.
And you'd have like a 100 gig install, get over, but you literally copy paste it to another 100 gig install. And you're like, sweet.
Rad.
This is brilliant. I'm really glad there's some good engineers over at COD, whatever company made that one.
Activision. Sledgehammer.
Yeah,
Someone.
I forget which
Ravensoft.
developer
I don't fucking know.
specifically.
I don't fucking know.
But anyway, yeah, the Steam Deck, seriously, this again is one of those things where I'm gonna,
even if it's not dockable, I would still consider getting it.
see myself using it.
I would still consider getting it.
So the reason I say this is like, remember when the Switch was first announced? You and I think we used to like on and off podcast that far back still.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Switch, and I remember saying I would never use it out of the dock. I have no reason to. And then I had it, and I used it a lot out of the dock. It's one of those things where I look at this and say, now granted, if this is only portable, my use case for it drops pretty dramatically.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't travel a lot, and that's fine. And if I do travel a lot, I actually typically do it to like specifically cut technology out.
Yeah.
I don't want to be gaming during that period of time, right? But that's me. And even then, I could see myself still wanting it to be like, I'm just going to dick around in the living room and play on my Steam Deck and just hang out. Just hang out with people or
I
whatever.
also see,
or
like-
if we're gonna hang out with at your place or whatever, you're like, hey, we're having some people over. Well, let me bring my Steam Deck.
Yeah.
It can play Immortal Phoenix Rising at higher than 720p 30 FPS.
You think it gets to 30?
My Switch didn't. That's for sure. But this is brilliant. I know I'm like really repeating myself there, but seriously, in the same way that when we were talking about the Switch, we were like, that is brilliant.
This solves.
This is that.
This literally solves the problem of, well, they couldn't do a Switch Pro; it'd be too expensive. Boom.
Valve just does it. Literally drops it. Literally drops it.
Now,
Look,
could you make the argument?
How much space does the Switch OLED model have?
I think it's
Because everyone said it's always hard drive space. That's always the big problem.
Isn't it 30?
I think it's 30, I think it's still 32.
Well, that was exciting.
Was that lightning?
Yeah.
So it's Nintendo Switch OLED memory. What were you gonna say?
Give me a second.
I think it is still just.
It's still just 32.
I think it might still just be 32. Even if it was the 64. If it was a 64, it's. I don't know, man. I'm like, yeah, I'm still not digging it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have too much more to say about the Steam Deck other than I'm going to pay attention to it. Yeah. What I really want to see is people get it in people's hands and them try it.
Well, that was my thing. I know IGN had like 6 hours with it, and they have like a video up, talking about how.
But they're nothing but hype beasts.
I know.
They'll never be critical about a thing a day in their life.
No.
You cannot be a news journalist, review critical outlet, and Shadow of War run hype campaigns for Shadow of War. And then when all the stuff comes out about the game, people are like, yo, what the heck happened? And IGN's like, what do you mean? Like, we didn't say any of that. Points to videos of them saying that. Yeah. And that's just one example. Like, yeah.
The same with Kotaku. Kotaku, grain of salt.
Mountain of salt. They're too hype beastie.
Yeah.
They're not real. They're not critical.
Yeah.
They're not genuinely critical. But anyway, yeah, so let's move on from the Steam Deck, though. We said a lot. We're already running pretty deep, so this is pretty fun. We have a couple of things. I don't know how much I really have to say about these other than a couple key thoughts. But another big announcement that happened relatively recently was that Netflix is breaking into the video game scene.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I'm both. So in a way, I'm not surprised, and in a way, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised because the idea of cloud gaming is going to continue pretty aggressively. I have zero interest in it, but I think it's cool. It's one of those things. It's not for me. I have zero use. I will never play a video game on my phone because why would I play on that when I have all of this? Or why would I play on this screen when I have a Switch or a Steam Deck? Like, I can't.
Or an Nvidia Shield.
But you know what I mean? Like, there's no think about look how fat my thumbs are. Like, I take up I lose so much of the screen. But so it has no benefit to me.
Yeah.
But it's really cool technology. Imagine if you're, especially in the military, you're deployed, you have a crappy laptop, open up some GeForce Now.
Yeah.
Boom. Or the Microsoft's cloud service. Sweet. That's cool. Netflix getting into it is kind of surprising, but they did mention that they wanted to branch out a lot beyond what they're doing. But there's basically one big factor to it because we know basically nothing about it other than a couple things, which is we know it won't be extra cost. It'll be baked into the Netflix subscription, which is huge. Let's be real. It'll get increased in like a year. Let's all be real.
It's like those premium internet bundles they sell you. They're like, yo, it's $59.99. And then in really, really tiny letters. For the first 6 months, unless you exceed so much amount, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, hold on, wait, what the fuck?
So it was also, too, and Netflix was like, oh, no, we're increasing our quality streams to 1080p for no extra cost. A year later, everyone's subscription went up $1 a month. And then it was like, we're going to do 4K streaming for no extra cost. A year and a half later, everyone's subscription went up $1 or $2 a month. So like, it'll be, hey, we're adding video games for no extra cost. And in about a year and a half, everyone's subscription is going to go up $1 or $2. That's what's going to happen. But even then, to be fair, that's still it's an amazing value. Like Netflix is already a pretty good value, if I'm being real.
Yeah.
And so to add to that, even for $1 or $2 a month, I don't have a Netflix subscription because I don't watch TV basically at all. But it's to have that gaming in there too for a lot of people would be huge. It also just adds it to the mainstream like further. It really does. So one of the big other key factors though is Mike Verdu is involved, and he's a pretty big guy, pretty big name. he is the VP now of game development for Netflix, but he has done a little bit of a past. He has worked at EA. He's made things like, or worked on games like The Sims, Plants vs. Zombies. He's helped with to get made. Star Wars, some of the Star Wars games he's helped to get out. He used to be the chief creative officer at Zynga. So, like, that's weird. Don't know how much that actually adds to his credibility, but it exists.
Yeah, it's on the resume.
But his most recent thing was that he was the VP at Facebook for Oculus development. So his job is basically to help make getting ports to the Oculus platform easy and better and possible.
Which you kind of need that if you're going to go to a company and be like, yo, stream your games on Netflix, please.
So that's the thing. He's gone from, hey, how do we get your thing to work in VR, to now he's going to find ways, how do you get your thing to work on a live streaming environment? That's kind of cool. He seems like a good guy for the job. I hope he does really well. I hope this thing works out really well. Unfortunately, I'm not really excited for cloud gaming stuff because it doesn't affect me at all. But my other thing is, I'm not excited because not many people have done it well yet.
Exactly.
There's dude, you saw it. When Project Cloud, when the Project Stream beta came out, which ended up becoming Google Stadia, they let me play Assassin's Creed Odyssey for free on Project Stream. And it was brilliant. It was 1080p, 60 FPS almost no input lag. It was insane. I was playing it on a $150 Chromebook at the screen was 720p or whatever, but it was 720p, 60 FPS on a Chromebook. It was brilliant. And I could plug in an Xbox controller and it worked. And then Stadia launched. And it was nothing like what Project Stream was. It was so deceiving.
Yeah.
And GeForce Now is good when it works. There's a great video from Scott the Woz about cloud gaming, and his experience with GeForce Now is nothing like what a lot of people in the PC world are saying. And something like
another great fucking dude. I love Scott the Woz.
Yeah, but he's a great person in the sense like he is the best target audience for GeForce Now. Non-PC gamers, someone who's interested in getting into PC gaming but only works on Macs.
Yeah,
he is the target audience. So for it to go that badly for him,
it's disheartening as shit
to everybody who watches it. They're like, oh well, this is the other experience it could be. Then you have the Project xCloud, the Microsoft service.
Yeah,
that could still be going, but it's just they're so not good yet. They're still just not good. Netflix has to be
cloud gaming's in like the spot. I didn't mean to cut you off, but cloud gaming's in like the spot that like VR was for a long time, and it technically still kind of is.
It still very much still is.
Like when the first set of VR headsets started coming out, everyone's like, "Yo, VR is amazing. It's the future. It's blah blah blah." I was like, "Yeah, it has a hand in it. You're right." But tell me a VR game that's worth me spending $800 on a VR headset.
Right. As much as Beat Saber is seriously one of the best VR games ever made, and probably one of the best games ever made in general, but it's a great game. Not worth buying a headset for, unless you just really like rhythm games like I do. And I don't regret buying my Vive because of Beat Saber, to be quite honest. But that's not a reliable strategy.
You have your sensors up, right?
Yep. But that's not a reliable strategy.
Yeah.
But because I would argue, genuinely, I know this might be maybe overly cynical. I would argue that the first VR game that genuinely was here's
Alex.
It was Alex. Half-Life Alyx was the first game that was here's the potential. Truly to VR. Super Hot VR, really great.
I was literally about to say
Moss,
Super Hot,
really great. Beat Saber, really great.
Moss 2, by the way.
Yeah, those games are good, but they're not you could have done Beat Saber on a Wii. That you could have. It wouldn't have been as cool, but you could have. Half-Life Alyx requires so much body work. Granted, Beat Saber is clearly better on a VR than a Wii ever will be.
Yeah,
but Half-Life Alyx is so brilliant. They pushed the platform. And the same way that Valve pushed physics engines, they are now pushing VR. They are setting the benchmark of, let us show you how to do it. It's like when Nintendo made Super Mario 64. People were like, how do you do 3D? We'll show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? We'll show you how to do it multiple times. That's exciting. But cloud gaming hasn't had that yet. There hasn't been the platform yet.
Yeah.
Maybe Netflix will be it. They know their platform. They know how to do that.
I think if anything, they'll have initial success just because of how many people have Netflix.
The cool
Google Stadia, a lot of the reason I think, other than its clear performance and unfinished issues, I think the reason Google Stadia faded so fast was because no one was really expecting anything of it that was a common consumer. Think about how many regular people have Netflix.
Right. Also, you compare Stadia to Netflix, another comparison. you don't have to pay for anything extra
Yeah.
that we're aware of. Like, we don't know how it'll even interface, to be fair. We just know it'll be part of your subscription.
Yeah.
But we don't know what that really means. There might still be a dongle you have to buy or whatever. But you'd have to buy Stadia or a Chromecast Ultra or whatever, which is fine, and the controller and all that. And you still then have to pay for the service and the games. If Netflix has the service baked into your sub already, and the most you have to do is have a one-off purchase of $100 for a dongle or something and a controller, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's really not bad. Imagine if you could. There's no way this works. Imagine if you could plug in a USB hub to an Xbox controller to a USB hub on a TV, and it worked. There's no way that happens. It's impossible. I don't think the technology exists on it, but that'd be cool. Anyway, so let's move on to Stadia. I wanted to just briefly touch on this because it ties so close to the Netflix thing, and it ties to cloud gaming of revenue. How do companies make money cloud gaming, right? The obvious is, they sell copies. Well, games have changed for better or for worse, and it's really both, for better and worse, have gone to a live service model in a lot of ways.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but there are also a lot of good to it. There really is. Like
there is, but I would argue there's more hindrances than positive. The positives are very high.
Yeah, and that could be technologically limiting. It could be a plethora of things. It could be the fact that
plethora, if you will.
Yeah. It could be that the fact that because digital exists and it's moving so much to digital that physical stops existing, and digital is licensing products, whereas physical is owning products.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And it will be more of a problem the more this moves on. And game preservation, being able to own old things. You ever want to talk about why digital is good, though, or could be beneficial? Try to go play Valkyrie Profile on the PS1 and not spend $300, right? But because it's only physical, it didn't sell that well.
Also, really random. What the fuck happened to Conker's Bad Fur Day?
What do you mean?
Dude, I was literally scrolling through the Facebook Marketplace, and I seriously saw like 6 different people selling just the cartridge of Conker's Bad Fur Day for less than $40.
Are they reproduction cartridges, maybe?
I don't know.
They might be reproduction cartridges.
Maybe.
Because reproduction cartridges are coming huge. Like, they're really huge. Actually, I have a reproduction cartridge of, what is it? Anyway, I have a reproduction cartridge over there. I think one of the Game Boy Advance games. It might be Fusion, actually. No, it's Zero Mission. Because Zero Mission is like $100, $110. And the reproduction cartridge was like $15. So it's like, screw it, I'll own it. And it works. It works on Game Boy hardware. It's literally a copy paste.
Yeah.
They're the same game. But that might be part of it. Granted, yeah, there's the benefit to owning authentic, but yeah, it might be that. But so that's a benefit to digital, absolutely. What's a bad side to digital? The Wii Shop. That's gone. My Wii Virtual Console is gone.
Yep.
If I didn't download those games, they're gone. What about, and people say, like, because the whole Steam thing came up years and years ago. What happens if Steam goes down? Well, that'll never happen. What happens when the Nintendo shop goes down? Well, that'll never happen. Happened. What happens when the Vita shop goes down? That'll never happen. Almost happened. It wasn't for the fact that of the massive backlash, Sony would have taken it down. This isn't new.
Yeah.
The original Xbox Live stuff is like, does it work even?
Well, let's even look at it as like, look at the comparison between when EA started Origin and when people had all their EA games on Steam and none of their save files transferred over to Origin.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's straight because Mass Effect and stuff got pulled. I remember that. Yeah, because I was playing through Mass Effect 1 and 2 to get ready for 3.
Your save files existed.
And I couldn't carry over my save file into Mass Effect 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I forgot about that. Same thing with Dragon Age Inquisition. I played through Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Origins Awakening, and Dragon Age 2. When Inquisition came out, my plan was to do the import, the save import. It didn't work. I had to go onto their webpage, download a save file, and some hacker wrote a game file editor. So I had to write a game file editor to copy what I had because my Dragon Age 2 save didn't work on the Origin import for some reason. Don't know why. Absolutely. There's a lot of these problems. Also, what happens if the game gets taken down? Scott Pilgrim vs. the World was gone for like a decade.
Yeah.
One of the best beat-em-ups ever made just vanished out of nowhere. If Cooking Mama Cookstar vanishes like it did on the eShop, The people who owned it, the physical copy, it didn't vanish, right? Like they own the game. There's too many of those things happening, way too many. So, but anyway, we really went off on a tangent there. I'll be honest, I was so kind of getting to these conversations, I forgot we were podcasting for a second. The big thing though is for developers and publishers, how do you revenue this? Like, how do you get revenue outside, obviously, digital sales? That's obvious. But what about subscription models? Stadia is actually doing something really cool, or Google is in general. They are increasing their revenue share based on subscription usage pretty dramatically. And I think this is big. And the reason why I think this is big is because if Stadia can pull this off, obviously this might be seen as Stadia trying to save their platform.
Yeah.
It's very much most likely Stadia trying to save their platform.
However,
let's be real. But it's still good. In the same way that Epic doing what they did, is stupid as it was, and how the crazy money they were throwing at to buy developers and all that anti-competition stuff they were doing, it put pressure on Valve to give better benefits. And a lot of indie companies, especially very small teams, had leverage when they went to Valve to say, we need a bigger cut to make it through the sale process to keep doing this. And having Epic Games exist allowed them leverage to do that. Right now, Google is changing something. So 70%, it's a huge number, 70% of all monthly revenue from their pro service will now be split between partners. And the way that'll work is that, so let's just say they make, it's like $15 or whatever a month. Let's just hypothetically say, because I forget what their sub number is, but like it's $15 a month for you to pay, right? 70% of that money, so let's just say like $12 or whatever, $11.50 or $12, will then get split amongst the developers of games based on how much time you spent in each of those games. So if you spent all of your time in Destiny, Bungie gets the $12. That's really good. That's really cool. Developers and publishers should get that money, because that game, you don't have to, I think it's one of the examples, you don't have to buy Destiny. You get it as part of the pro sub.
Yeah.
So, we don't know if that works for the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah.
We don't know how those companies make their money, other than Microsoft probably pays them a couple extra bucks to be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Right? I say a couple extra, it's probably like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Let's be real. But like, or maybe like tens of thousands depending on the game. This is really cool. One of the few things that Stadia's done at all that's been pretty good.
I would argue probably the only thing Stadia done to me anyway, that's been kind of cool.
They've also done something else that's really cool on top of this. It's not just that split. That's already pretty cool.
They're giving away free Fez hats.
I hope so. I hope Phil Fish gives it to me. I like that guy. He's really nice. He's a really sweet guy. He made a great game, though.
Made a great game.
Yeah. They also added an affiliate program, not for you and me, but for like developers. So what'll happen now is developers get $10 for every time they take a new user who purchases the pro sub. And what it is, if you go to the page link, it'll be like, so you click on Destiny 2, I want to get this as part of my sub service. Like I want to join the sub service and play this. You click that, you pay for it, Bungie gets $10 for you. Is that a lot? No. Could it be, depending on the player size or the user base?
Yeah.
Yes. Is it a lot for Stadia? Probably not. But like, if that was Microsoft doing that,
that's a lot of money.
Huge. They might be doing that. We just don't see, it's not being publicly said, right? Like we don't know what the deals or negotiations are for Game Pass or PlayStation Now, whatever that service is. Because
I still have yet to figure out what the actual purpose behind PlayStation Now is, because I never hear
to be a really good PlayStation 3 subscription service.
Cool. It's
got a lot of PS3 games on it, and not much else.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Those aren't the games people want to play.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. Or just sell me your PS3 game.
Yeah, like with the fucking...
Yeah. But I think that's all I really have. I don't think I have too much. We were really positive this episode. I'm really happy. I'm really glad. I have a smile on my face.
I mean, to be fair, it wasn't like overtly negative. I mean, it was all right.
I just don't want to be a Sonic fan, man. That's like the worst. I'm sorry, Sonic fans. I love you to death, dude. Like Sonic Mania, incredible. Sonic Mania Plus is genuinely probably the best Sonic game ever made.
Probably.
Like, genuinely. I don't want to be a Sonic fan where they're like, all right, we've had a good Sonic game.
Time for a bad one.
The next one's gonna blow. Or we've had like 3 bad Sonic games. The next one, I think it might be the one. Finally. Remember the year that Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations came out within
And
a
they were
year of
both
each other?
amazing?
And people were like,
Holy shit.
what do we do? 2 good Sonic games.
And then Sonic Boom came out.
Yeah. And even then it was Lost World not too far after that. Just like very okay.
I'm really weird. I kind of like Lost World.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You really don't.
I kind of do, though.
Why?
I don't know. It's kind of fun.
Is it?
I like it.
It looks like
I
Galaxy.
don't love it.
It looks like
a lot of it's garbage, but
Oh, okay, cool. We can agree
like
there.
parts of it I think are kind of fun.
It's pretty.
It is really pretty.
It's not like brokenly bad to where you don't
Yeah,
like,
it's just
fall
like-
through the game.
It's like just like bad game bad rather than broken game bad.
It's just like boring game bad. Yeah, like boring game bad. It's just like the new Super Mario Brothers games. Like they work.
They're just
I hope to never have to play them again. But they work. Anyway, that's it for me.
That's all I got.
It's all you got. Sweet. Well, thank you all for sticking around. If you made it this far, thank you for watching the Dusty Case podcast.
Also, if you
and
made it this
listening.
far, Sage, Diablo 2 Resurrected, it's going to be fine. Diablo 3 is not that good.
Diablo 4 is also going to be good. I'm just only saying that so that people don't think I'm just a Diablo 2 fanboy. Because apparently everyone forgot that Diablo 2 players also liked Diablo 1. It's not like they just like this one game. Anyway, that's it. Thank you all for listening or watching, depending on what platform you're on. And if you are watching this on YouTube or anywhere, actually, listening to this anywhere, then if you want to give yourself a shout out, go first. Feel free.
Twitch.tv/itsrabes. Your boy streams pretty intermittently right now. I'm trying to get back on a regular schedule, but we have fun. It's a lot of fun. We do music reactions. We play video games. It's a lot of fun.
A lot of multiplayer stuff.
Yes.
You guys do a lot of fun stuff. Like always, there's always a team of people there.
Yes.
So I have youtube.com/SupraxiGaming is where I'm currently at. A lot of variety stuff coming, weird stuff coming.
Lots of WoW stuff currently.
Currently out there, but it's not going to say that way, unfortunately. There will be some more WoW stuff on the way. It'll be like random, though. It will be like a couple videos here or there. And also twitch.tv/Supraxi, which I haven't been streaming. To be honest, I'll be honest, there was a period of time where I did not want to play games because it was going to involve me making WoW content. So
Yep.
I took a break pretty dramatically. And then this is also going to be on, if you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to I think I can click the links. I'll try to put the podcast links in, but this should be on everything. I think I've figured out that hosting service, so it should be on everything.
You got my text, right,
yeah,
about that?
I think it's on everything.
Okay.
I hope. I'll double check it. I think it's like on Google. It's on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, all of them. So, and a bunch of things I've never heard of. But yeah, look for the really bad logo because I haven't gotten a logo made yet. It literally is like Dusty Case Podcast in black letters. That's it. But thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. What are your thoughts on the OLED model? What are your thoughts on the Steam Deck?
What are your thoughts on cloud gaming as a whole?
What are your thoughts on the starters on Randy's shirt? There's a clear winner.
Yeah, it's right here.
You just hiding Charmander and Bulbasaur on the screen. They can't see it. There we go. Easy winner.
Easy.
Cinderace.
I almost just sat on my nuts.
Okay. Well, that. Bye-bye.